Hey guys, hope you're having a great day today. All right, today is going to be a video and it's going to be my tips for younger brides. Now, I have been married. My husband and I have been married for 24 years this year. I had to look just to make sure because it's always one of those things where I have to like add up in my head how many years we've been married. It seems like forever, and it has been forever. It's a good thing. We are happily married. We have 10 children, so that's a good thing. Kept us going. We have been through ups and downs. We have been through a whole lot in our lives, but guess what? We're still married, and that's a good thing. There were times that I'm sure he wanted to leave. I know there were times that I wanted to leave, but you know what? Just because our flesh gets out and we're like, you know, we just need to work through it, get through it, and we did. So easy just to jump out of a marriage, but it's best to stay and fight for what is right. And so we have been married for a long time, and so I know that my children now are of age where they're getting married. Our oldest just got married this last October, and so very happy for her and Paul. Wonderful marriage, and I saw her go through her wedding planning and all her things that she was doing, and I know sometimes it was stressful and things were going on, and I thought a lot, and I heard like a lot of horror stories of moms being very pushy, and then I saw these couple of reality shows, and it was like Bridezilla, Momzilla, all these things, and I'm like, oh my goodness, and I'm like, wow, I'm like, we I think are just normal, and I think Ashlyn a couple times said, Mom, would you be more pushy and be more this of what you want? And I said, I'm not going to be that way. I said, that's not me. I said, you do what you want to do for you. It's your wedding. You choose what you want to do. And so it sparked a video today, and I was thinking about it because Lauren is now engaged to Matthew. And she asked me things on things too, and I try to just, you know, because you get in that mode of like, oh, I gotta have this huge wedding, I gotta invite all these people, I gotta do this, I gotta do that, I gotta do this, I gotta make it look perfect. And I said, you know what? I said, if I can give you some advice, let me show you some advice of things I've learned. Because we didn't do a huge wedding, we did a smaller wedding, which was great, perfect, loved it. I would have done even smaller. I would have done the courthouse, no. I would have just done a small thing. But I did what was important, and that's what I want to get my girls and my boys too, some good tips for them. So my number one advice, I guess, to mothers like me of daughters getting married or sons is, mothers, you can share advice and you can give tips and you can give like some knowledge and some wisdom about some things that you recommend them doing, or you seeing like that's a bad idea, but guess what? Then it's you can say it in a kind, nice way, but then guess what? You gotta step back and you gotta let them decide what they're gonna do. And it might not be the right decision. They might think that purple flowers and orange flowers go together, and you know in your mind that's gonna look a little crazy in pictures. Or they might think that they wanna do this, and you know that's just not gonna go right. It's okay, does not matter. We live and learn and we do our own thing. It's about them, not about us, Mom. So you let them choose what they want to do for their wedding. You can give advice. I know I sit here, Lauren talks to me and asks me things, and I said, oh, I wish I would have not done that for my wedding. I'm like, that's one thing I really didn't want to spend money on. And I'm like, and she's like, oh, it's okay, I want to do that. And I'm like, you know what, that's fine. That's what they want to do. You let them do it. So mamas, you just sit back and enjoy the wedding ceremony, and whatever they have for you, you just do it, Mom. One thing I tell my girls, because I have two that are getting married. My boys are not there yet, but I will tell them and their future spouses is, do what is important to you. If it is important for you to have the greatest hairstyle that day, then you go off and get yourself paid. Go get a nice hairstylist to do your hair. If it is important for you to have a beautiful, expensive dress, then go out and get a beautiful, expensive dress. If it's important for you to have donuts or ice cream for your dessert instead of wedding cake, then do it. Whatever is most important. There are going to be times, because you are married and coming into a family, and you're going to have some kind of like, okay, well, they like this, I like this. It's not going to be all about them. I know sometimes you're going to be able to encourage your child because they want it just them, because it's their wedding. But they also are marrying a spouse who has some viewpoints, and they also are marrying a family and going to be joined together with that family. So it is important for them to kind of look at all the options out there, and people are going to throw ideas left and right in there because people love giving ideas and people want to be part of things because people do enjoy that. So what I tell them is, you know what, you pick what's important to you, and then that's it, and everything else, who cares? If it's important for you to have donuts, then you have donuts. But if they want to have 500 people, then have 500 people. Don't worry about it. You have the importance, donuts. And enjoy the 500 people, even if it doesn't even care to you, but that's not your importance. It's just donuts. Have donuts. So that's what I tell my kids. Do what is important to you. Don't worry about the rest. Don't worry about hurting people's feelings. Don't worry about any of that. Be kind with it, but you do what's important. One thing I tell my girls is their wedding dress. Some girls like expensive wedding dresses. I know that I paid a lot of money for my wedding dress, and I remember thinking, like right now, 24 years later, you want to know where my wedding dress is? It's rolled up in a grocery bag in my hope chest because My girls will never wear it because it's completely out of style. Maybe they'll cut a piece off it and put it and sew it on something one day for tradition, but again, why would you have to cut off a dress just to have it be part of your mom? I'm gonna be there with them, so they don't really need to cut a piece of cloth to have with them. Some people do that. I think it's cute how they cut the cloth from the grandparents and the great-grandmas, and they do that, but that's just more for tradition and memories and whatever. But I'm always like, what are you gonna do with the dress? Nothing. So people might gasp when they hear me say this, but myself, I'd be looking for a used dress. I know, did I just say that? I said that. I would be looking for a dress at Goodwill. I'd be looking for a dress at a discount store. I'd be looking online for a discounted dress. Yes, I would. I read so many stories of people that buy dresses and then they go get it altered and have it changed, and they're paying like 2 to 3 times the amount of the dress just in alterations, and I'm like, oh my goodness. And I think, you know, same thing for bridesmaid dresses. It's like if you have a big wedding, you require your bridesmaid to buy dresses, which are like $150, $200. They're never gonna wear them again, ever. So choose something that they can wear some other place. I know even myself, I just had my best friend from school stood up with me, and I just said, well, choose whatever you want. Look at JCPenney's, find something you want. I don't care, I'm burgundy, that's my color. And she just chose a simple burgundy dress, and guess what? She could wear it again for Christmas, and she could wear it again for something else, and that works. So just remember that you don't have to have like certain, I mean, you just want that picture perfect thing. Like people say it looks good, but in reality, when you have your pictures in your house, you have a picture of you and your husband. You don't usually always put your wedding party picture on your wall. You might for a time. You might put out wedding photos with, you know, you and your friends, that kind of thing. But over the years, when you start having kids and you start growing older, all those things, the only picture you keep is you and your husband on the wall. That's the only one I don't even have it on my wall. I have one next to my bed of my husband and I, and it was the formal one where we stood up in we were married in a chapel, where we were, it's like real professional and this and that. I don't even put that one up. And so my favorite is we were sitting and we turned around and we were like on the pew at the church, and we were just locking hands together, and we just smiled at each other. That's my favorite. And then there was one where he was kissing me on my forehead and he was holding my face, and that's what my husband does to me every day. You guys watch my videos and you see how he kisses me on the forehead. That's what he does in that one picture, and I'm like, ah, that's my favorite picture, because that's what he still does 24 years later. And so those 2 pictures are my favorite pictures. That's what I keep. I don't keep anything else. I've got the wedding albums. I've got a video, but the video's getting old, and the albums, I'm like, okay, no big deal. You look through it, but it's like, whatever. It's not that important. So thinking through like bridesmaid dresses and requiring people to buy all these things, just think, get something practical. I mean, you can get some really cute dresses that are practical for, like, they can still wear them to another time. So just my 2 cents. You do what you want, girls. My daughters-in-law, future ones, you do what you want. But my recommendation is go cheap on the dress, because you're wearing it for one day, and then you'll never ever wear it again. I put mine on, is it 20 years later? 20 years later, I had to think. 20 years later, I put my wedding dress on to see if I could fit into it, and I did, and I was very excited. That was after I lost all my baby weight the second time. After Stephen, I was like, can I put on my dress? It was one of those, like, mine was more like, my style was more like a mermaid dress, where it was real, you know, tight through the hips, and so it was a little more snug trying to get through those hips, because I've had 10 babies and my hips have grown a little bit. So, but that was it. But I was like, okay, I got it on. But in reality, I'm never gonna wear it again. If we ever do like a whole remarriage ceremony just to celebrate our vows, I wouldn't wear that dress. It's not even like anything I'd wear. It's not in style anymore. And so I tell my girls, you're never gonna wear it. But if it's important to you, then go right ahead. I say be comfy. You know, like mine, I remember I could barely move because that was the style of the dress, and it was like, and you just never wear it again. You just never wear it again. So my 2 cents on the dress, ladies, but you do what you want. And I tell my kids, I said, you know, my first thing I say as soon as I get married, I said, I'd much rather see you put your money towards a home versus a huge wedding. That's always my 2 cents. I said, because that day, it's beautiful that day. It's great to have a great big huge wedding. I said, but in reality, people go home, and then that next week you're living together in your new home. And I would much rather say, here's $500. You need a new washer, you know, and dryer. Washer is $500. $1,000, you're gonna need a washer and dryer, and that's nice to have. Or, you know, all the things, like I know when we were married, we did smaller, it was more chapel, but when we started out, we just started out with nothing. And so in my head, I thought we went for a long time, we barely had furniture, just because we lived in the Polo days. So we had bedroom furniture and we had a TV, and that was it. And so we had a card table that we got for our wedding, for our dining room table. And I think to myself, oh, if we would have just taken, you know, the $500 towards the dress and put it towards washer and dryer, that would have been way more better than going into, you know, buying a house and doing all these things and not having that extra money. So those are always my tips. Weddings are wonderful. It's great because there's so much family, all those things, but in reality, most of those people you never see. Most of those people you're just financing, if it's alcoholic drinking one, you're financing them just being drunk the whole time. So a lot of money out the door for that. So, not that I recommend drinking. I just know that we were heathens back in the day. Yes, I was a heathen. And we did have that at our wedding, but it was just like, I think the bill was ridiculously expensive. It was probably more than our dinner, which is so ridiculous because it was a fancy hotel that we got married at. I'm like, ridiculous, crazy. We didn't even have that much people. And so, live and learn. Live and learn is what I'm sharing with you guys here. But just zip the alcohol. Don't even do it. Don't even do it because you're just, you know, people can have fun and just enjoy your moment without being wasted. That's what I say. All right, remember, details don't always have to be so perfect. Pick what's important to you, but don't worry if all the centerpieces don't get perfected on the table. Don't worry if they forget a table to put this thing on, and just get what's important to you, and everything else, just let it slide off. You have to. Food, when it comes down to food, there's so many wonderful choices for food. You can do everything you want. Pick what you're comfy with. Pick what, don't worry about going against the whole thing, like you gotta have a sit-down dinner and you gotta have this or you gotta have a buffet. If you don't really like that food, don't do it. I know Lauren and Matthew, they're talking about doing spaghetti bar, and I'm like, so my first thought, Lauren and Matthew are gonna see this and be like, you didn't tell me that. My first thought is spaghetti sauce all over a white dress. As a mom, first thought, that's what I thought. I'm like, that's gonna be messy. And then the more and more they talked about it, I'm like, you know what, that's what they want to do. And I just listened. You listen, Mom, that's your job, Mom, just listens. And I just listened, and I'm like, that's what they want to do. They want to do a whole spaghetti bar with, and they might change their mind. They might change in a few 6 months. I'm just telling you what they were talking about right now. And that is like a good thing. Like, hey, that's a great idea. That's a good idea. And I gave some suggestions. I'm like, you could do like a one with a red sauce. You could do a white sauce. You can throw some chicken in there. And I said you could even do like Italian sausages to go, you know, with the Italian theme, and just throw out these ideas. They're like, ooh, that's a good idea. So put those things out there, Mom. It's just encourage. And who cares if it's not what you want? It's not about you. It's about them. If tacos are your favorite thing, do a taco bar. Who cares what it is? People be like, tacos for a wedding? Yes, tacos for a wedding would be the best thing ever. Just make sure that you eat, dance, and enjoy. Brides, don't sit there and worry about stressing about all the details and that this didn't go right or wrong. You just get out there and you sit down and you eat. You enjoy your meals. Guess what? You are paying for them. And get out there and dance if you have music, and just enjoy every moment with your spouse. Don't worry about getting pictures with everybody else. You just enjoy the time with your new hubby. I say recommend putting some people on details, like your mom, your sisters, good friends, somebody you can trust, and say, hey, would you take care of that detail, make sure that's done? And they'll say, absolutely, do that. Put somebody else in charge of that. No, some people would love nothing better to do than to have a job to do something, and if you can just leave that to them, let them do it, and you won't have to worry about it. Different things that I know that we've like seen over the years and talked about over the years. Like I know we had, we didn't do a video, we did a video of the wedding, and it was just more like, old back 24 years ago, way different. I've seen like video people where they go right in their people's faces, and they're always like at their first dance, they're right in their faces trying to record, and they're getting out of the moment. And I thought, that's so bad. Like, I'd recommend someone get a camera, like here, like a vlogger, hire me. No. That can stand in the background and record neat little shots of different things, people eating, you know, the dance, but not right up in their faces where it's super, you know, not enjoying the moment, where it's more further behind. Then have those people, maybe even set up a photo booth. What a photo booth for people to get pictures in front of. How cool is that? And then you can have your person that's the camera vlogger, and that people can, you know, give the well wishes to the couple. And that's always a great thing to keep, because then later on those couple can go back and watch it and go, look at it, I didn't get to talk to that person very much, but how cool what they said, or whatever, something like that. And it's always neat to have like neat little questions or something, like, you know, you could think of things beforehand that they could say and answer, like, what is your, you know, advice for the married couple, or what's an interesting date night for the married couple? Just, you can get a bunch of holistic questions, you can put them in a jar, and then the people at the photo booth can pick one out, and the person recording could do it and answer. Just a fun little thing for the couple, or the most memorable time you've had with, you know, the happy couple, or things like that, or something, just some kind of neat little questions just to answer, so that when they're married they can sit back and watch it and just kind of smile and go, oh, that's pretty cool. Just something memorable, something different, something neat to do. Give the camera to teenagers. Teenagers love taking pictures. I know even Lauren, I told her, she was talking about cameras and people doing things, and she thought, oh, even the disposable cameras are really neat on the table. And I'm like, hey, I said, give your sisters your good phones and let them go down snapshots of people. Way nice. They could go around and take pictures of people all day long. Hey, let me get a picture of this. Let me get a picture of that. I said, and they would love doing that. So those are great ideas. Give some to teenagers and say, go ahead and take a bunch of pictures. Then you got like probably 1,000 pictures, probably more if they're teenagers doing it, that could take pictures of your wedding. Traditions, don't worry so much about traditions. Just because great grandma did it and grandma did it and mom did it. You don't have to do it. You do what's important to you. Again, it goes back to that, like there's a whole tradition of something borrowed, something blue, something old, something new, something borrowed, something blue. Where's that from? Where is that even from? Why do we do it? I don't know. Pick what's important to you. Don't worry, I don't think your marriage is gonna be cursed because you don't have something old or something new or something borrowed or something blue. That's just a whatever thing. Just keep what's important to you. All right, so we talked about expenses of weddings. Very, very expensive. If you have to pay for that yourself, that's an awful lot of money to put out. If you saved for it, great. Don't go into debt over a wedding. So not worth it. Take it from me, from a mom that started out. We did put a lot on debt. We did when we first married, and that was not even worth it. Like, we didn't even think about it. Oh yeah, just charge it. Just charge it. Didn't even think about it. Then it's like, you gotta pay for that charge later on. So don't go into debt. Save, put money aside, and pay for it. If you can't, then don't do any more. Don't worry about that anymore. Just don't get that whole, like, people look at it and go, oh, I gotta have you saved $10,000 for a wedding. No, you don't. You can do a wedding very, very cheap and inexpensive by just getting out of that box of what a wedding has to be. There's so many things. I know Lauren's researching so much stuff online of DIYs and things you can do, and the way you can get your invitations, all that kind of stuff is like cheaper made, and the dresses and all that stuff, and the food and the venues, all the things that comes with it. And so just do some research, do a little bit of research, just don't get locked in that box of what it is you have to have. Okay, so then another thing that's very, very expensive when you get married is, okay, not just the wedding, but guess what's very expensive? The wedding ring, right? I remember when my husband and I went and picked out our rings. We were young, very, very young. 19 years old, young. And we were like, oh, we're in love, we don't care, we're gonna go to the jewelry place. Who cares how much money it was? And I think it was like $2,500, which was a lot at the time for a 19-year-old that was not making that much money back 24 years ago. And I remember going, oh my goodness, I love it, let's get it, who cares, let's put in the charge card, cha-ching, and we did. And then he got his, it was the matching one, and it was a gold band with diamonds in it, and guess what? And it was so great, and we had it, it was beautiful, and I remember like going, oh, no big deal. Well, guess what? We had to pay for these wedding rings for a very, very long time. And guess what happened after we got married? We started having babies, and then we had more babies, and more babies, and guess what? We still had to pay for these still. Then my husband was working, and guess what? He didn't even wear his ring. We didn't even know about the silicone bands that they have now. Hold on, we'll tell you that in a minute. But he didn't even wear his because the way he worked in his job, he had seen way too many guys that had got their finger stuck on a machine and it had ripped a finger off. Yeah, so he never wore his, ever. He'd come home, he just wouldn't wear it. If we would go out or something, he would, but most of the time he didn't. So that ring just sat in a drawer. And for myself, I wore it for a long time. Then I got pregnant and my fingers swelled up and I would take my ring off, I wouldn't even wear it. I'm like, oh my goodness. Nowadays, there is so much more out there for an alternative for a wedding ring. Back then it was more like you just had Walmart and whatever, and they were just cheaper made, and you knew they were cheaper made, and they made your ring, your finger turn green, and so you didn't want to do that one. And I remember reading about cubic zirconian, and that was an alternative, but then over the years cubic zirconian, it turns yellow. So then you have this cubic zirconian with a yellow stone in the middle, and so that was never a good option either, but they have other options available. Julia is a company that reached out to me, and I was like, wings, and I'm like, well, you know what? And then I thought, you know what, let me get one, let me see, let me talk about it so I can share with my viewers, because I know a lot of you are young, a lot of you are gonna get married, some of you aren't even married, maybe you just want a ring. There's other alternatives to thinking that you need a diamond ring to look good. And so what I liked about Julia rings, I was looking on their website and I was like, and I started researching a little bit, and what they have is moissanite collection. Let me show you that. Okay, so the moissanite collection. So is that how I'm saying it, moissanite? I hope I am. So I did a little Google search on moissanite, okay, because I was like, what ring is better than a diamond ring? Diamond rings are super expensive, super expensive. You can spend thousands of dollars on wedding rings. Trust me, thousands. We did. Would I have changed that? I love my wedding ring, but I know we could have used that money somewhere else. So I started looking up moissanites, and they were saying that moissanites, I was Google, if you do a quick Google search, you'll see that diamond is like the hardest gem, you know, in the world. I think it's, I'm going to say these numbers, you can look them up, it's like a hardness of 10 or something like that. Moissanite gems have like a hardness of like 9 point something, 9.3, 9.5, something like that. Very similar to a diamond. And so they look the same. The average the normal everyday person can look at it and not see any type of difference in the stone, which is really good. The cubic zirconian, they were saying, was they turn yellow over time, so you definitely can tell that they are not, you know, a good ring. And so I was like, wow. So this the moissanite actually has more sparkle because of the way the diamond is, the way the stone is on there, but it's way less in your budget. You'll spend thousands of dollars on a ring for your wedding that's a diamond just because it's a diamond, and you can spend like hundreds of dollars that looks just as good for a moissanite ring. I know you can go over to Julia. Here's the website, Julia.com, and you can see all the different things. They have a bunch of different collections. They didn't just have wedding jewelry, they have like a whole lot of like just different stones, different things like that. So what I chose, because I was looking through and I'm like, okay, I don't need a wedding ring, and I'm like, I don't really need any of that, but I've always wanted to get a ring for this other finger. But I just didn't know what I wanted to get. So my husband, one thing my husband and I always say is, it's our love, we always say, how much do you love me? And they always like this, and we say, it's our love goes around the world and comes back. It never ends. It's a big giant circle. So I saw this one, and I was like, ooh, that looks like a good thing, and so I got it. So this is sterling silver. So I thought it looked very pretty. There's my two rings. And I was like, it's like that circle that just intertwined and it goes around, it just never ends. And so I thought that was a very good description of our marriage, because I feel like it just goes around, it comes back, it just never ends. We're very internally twined, internally connected. Internally, whatever the word is. So I thought, I want to share this with my viewers, because my alternative was, oh, look at Walmart, look at wherever, go to a jewelry shop, you spend thousands of dollars. Well, there is other things online. There's other great things. This jewelry is great. It comes with a great little thing to wipe the cloth up. It gives you silver cleaner and anti-tarn. It gives you a little cloth to do. It gives you a nice little cute gift bag, along with the great box that it comes in. So all kinds of great things along with their book, and then a coupon code as well. So they're going to give you a percentage off any of your orders. So I'm going to put I'm going to link to this ring down in the description below in case you wanted that one. But I'll also give you the coupon code below. So thank you, Julia, for partnering with me today for today's video. So just some neat things, just things for you brides to think that you can think outside the box and do a little bit different. Don't just think that you have to have the diamond ring. Don't think that you have to do this one. Over the years, my husband, guess what he did? We got rid of his ring. We actually sold it, and then we ended up buying just one of those, I want to say it's a tungsten ring. Tungsten, where it's the black and the wood looking ring. That's what he got. And then Lauren and Matthew, they showed me ones, and they're silicone, and I'm like, what, where do these even come from? And they're like so much cheaper. But she's like, yeah, for the active days, mom, you don't have to worry about diamond. Like, I've been wearing this my whole life, and it's got knocked on things and everything else. I'm like, how much easier would have been to have something a whole bunch softer that can grow with your finger when you're having babies, all those things. So don't know these things unless you're out there. So those are all great ideas, but this is a great, I feel like these are great alternatives to spending thousands of dollars right here for hundreds of dollars. Great idea. So all you newies, or maybe oldies out there that just want to have a nice ring because you're celebrating your marriage, you're celebrating all the goodness in your life, go get yourself a ring. All right, so I hope that you enjoyed today's video. Just some tips on what I would suggest to younger brides, suggest to my own daughters, suggest to my sons and their future wives, all those good things. Just go with the flow. Don't worry about stressing about things. Pick what's important to you. If it's important for you to have the $5,000 ring, go ahead. But guess what? $100, $200 ring is going to be just as good, and it's going to cost you like a fraction of the price. Way better. Remember, pick your favorite. You want donuts and ice cream for your dessert? Get yourself some donuts and ice cream. Don't worry about the cake. You pick and you do what's important for you and your spouse, because that's what it's about, your special day with them. Find out what's important about them too. Find out what they want. If it's important for them to have cake, well then I guess what, you're going to have some compromise on either donuts or cake. Make it so that you guys can come together, because you're celebrating your unity and togetherness, and that's a wonderful, wonderful blessing in life. So I'm excited. I'm excited for my kids. I'm excited for Lauren and Matthew, because they're coming up getting married, and Ashley and Paul are already married, and just excited for their future and their times to grow with their spouse and to see how great their life is going to become when they just grow together as one. So all right, so I hope you enjoyed today's video, and we will see you guys again tomorrow. Okay, bye.